guys, welcome back to Outrageous Reactions. It's Dina here. I hope you're all doing so well and having a great week. Today we are going to react to the best, and I'm going to pure butcher this name, the best of Milo Yiannopoulos. That's what we're going to call him. Don't know how to pronounce his name, so don't judge me. This is by Fake Ginger. Now let's go. I don't know, I'm going to say now, I don't know much about this guy at all. All I know is he is a supporter of Trump. Other than that, I know nothing about him, so I'm actually intrigued, and I hear a lot of his name, so I'm surprised I don't know much about him, but I'll soon find out.
I've taken some time out of my busy schedule, being fabulous and doing my hair, to prepare a speech for you. Well, a few remarks, really. Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much. That universities have started to go along with it. They have started to respect students' points of view when the students claim that they have been emotionally traumatized by different opinions. And the trigger warning and safe space culture has started to take root even in the best institutions in the country. My view on this is that anybody who asks for a safe space or a trigger warning should be immediately expelled. They have demonstrated...
So the guy of controversy.
They have demonstrated that they are incapable of meeting the requirements of their course. Why are you here? Why are you here if not to discover new ways of looking at the world, to discover thinkers and ideas, history, stuff you never imagined that was possible, to broaden your intellectual horizons? If you're not prepared to do that, go home, leave. Don't be here.
For the same reasons. The problem is that what most people don't realise, the gender pay gap is a sort of myth. No economist takes it seriously. The ONS figures come from broad church sort of averages across the workforce, and when you take into account the different choices women make, whether or not you include children in that, actually the pay gap narrows to zero. So I'm in favour of this only because it's going to really embarrass these campaigners who constantly tell women that they're victims and that they're suffering under this sort of patriarchal society. Actually, women and men get paid pretty much the same, to the point of a couple of percent. So I am in favour of it, but only because it's going to explode one of the most persistent feminist myths of our time, the gender pay gap.
So he's strongly against feminists.
On the basics of classical liberalism, on the basis on which our society is founded, that we should judge people on the contents of their character, that we should interrogate arguments, not skin colour.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think we should also be able to agree, I think we should also try at least to agree, that the way to achieve equality is not to lie about rape, as feminists do.
Oh shit.
The way to achieve equality is not to lie about how people are remunerated, as feminists do. Like any other set of ideas, Islam is a set of ideas.
I mean, no one should lie about that, full stop.
We are perfectly entitled to interrogate it and find it wanting. I personally find it wanting. I would also like to say, as a gay person, I am fucking terrified by mass Muslim immigration, because the homophobia in the Islamic community, in the Ummah, is not restricted to terrorists. It is not restricted to ISIS. 51% of British Muslims believe that gay sex should be against the law. This is not Muslims in Syria. This is not Muslims in Raqqa. This is Muslims who live 3 streets away from me. Every other one of them believes that my lifestyle should be illegal.
That's not true that every other one of them.
Muslims believe that a woman should always obey her husband. Where the fuck are feminists on that? 25%. 25% of British Muslims believe that Sharia law should be instituted, which under certain circumstances treats a woman's...
Milo, he's trying to narrow in on a question.
Well, I'm going to finish. Treats a woman's testimony as worth half of a man's. The Queers for Palestine, possibly the stupidest people to walk the face of the earth, overlook the statistic that 97% of Palestinians believe that homosexuality is an unacceptable lifestyle choice. I'm not scared by terrorists, I'm scared by Islam.
Well, you hear this a lot from scientists, you hear a lot in particular from female scientists, but the fact is that there is some reason to suppose that there is an advantage to being a man in certain subjects. There's reason to suppose that gender essentialism, biological determinism, whatever you want to call it, the fact that there are male brains and female brains, may indeed have some basis in science. Now, this is sort of thrown out of the window completely by feminists and female academics who just refuse to accept that there's any reason whatsoever why there might be a gender imbalance. Two things on that. One, actually the science is very much still out on that. And two, if you look at equality in society, if you look, for example, at Bangladesh versus Norway, what you notice is the number of women in science and technology subjects actually goes down as societies get more equal, because women simply don't make the same choices that female academics and feminists would like them to. Women actually don't want to go into the sciences on the whole, and when they have every option available to them, they tend to choose not to.
Right. These figures.
You must understand.
These figures
I don't know how many people support this man and what he says, but
these figures
when I
come
look
from
at things,
averages
people
across
know
society.
him.
They don't take
People
into account
know.
different life choices that women
People
make.
agree with
the
what he
reality
says.
is that women do prefer a more balanced life. When they go to work, even if they don't have babies, they take longer holidays. They tend to take more holidays. And the reason that you know, they are paid more, up to about 30, 35, 39, depending on whose figures you believe. The reason that flips
only
at the
between
end,
30 and 39.
The reason, no, that's actually not true. The reason that the figures flip after that age is because women make different life choices.
Right.
And if you take those life choices into account, no serious economist believes this stuff. It's repeated by politicians right up to President Obama, but no serious economist takes the wage gap seriously.
A particular brand of feminism which holds almost total sway in the media and in gender studies and women's studies departments. There are honourable exceptions. But by and large, I don't expect you to comment on any of your colleagues, but a lot of your colleagues are off-the-wall mental. And in... We're in a situation now where students can go to university, they come out dumber than when they went in. They are infantilized by safe space and trigger warning culture. The idea that interrogating a new idea, coming into contact with a school of thought or a person that doesn't conform to your prejudices is somehow problematic, that it gives rise to trauma. This evening, there is a safe space at Michigan University to protect the safety and emotional well-being of students from this dangerous faggot and a lesbian with the wrong opinions. That is insane.
I'm sorry to be rude. I'm sorry to be rude, but, you know...
I'm a bit, like, thrown back by the things he's saying,
and
to
then
be
a lot
fair.
of contradictions from my right, because, you know, you say, well, we should have investigated diplomatic solutions, and yet you admit that the rebels haven't come to the table. I wonder
No, I disagree with you.
How do you I mean, what is your strategy for negotiating with a brick wall? Because it's quite difficult to negotiate when there's only one party.
This is what I hate about politics. People do not let each other speak.
It doesn't mean that you don't keep going.
Do you agree or do you disagree that the rebels have refused to even contemplate? And in any case, who would you approach, by the way? Because this is not an organisation with a figurehead. This is a coalition. Exactly. Who exactly are you going to negotiate with?
So that is why you need a different
strategy. Nobody even knows who to talk to.
I don't agree that bigoted speech is always a bad thing. I think it's important to hear from them. I think it's important to hear from them. You see, what the left wants to do is it wants to enable its extremists on its own side, the sexists and misandrists of feminism, the black supremacists of Black Lives Matter. They want to enable extremists on their own side and silence extremists on the other. Well, I don't like the extremists on either side. Racists, I don't like them, and they don't like me. I'm a miscegenatory, you know, gay Jew. They don't like me at all. But what I want to do is give a platform to all speech. I want more speech of all kinds. Why?
Is subjected to abuse that is saddening them and that is affecting them quite deeply. What advice would you give?
Toughen up. Toughen up. The majority of what's called abuse, harassment and trolling is ridicule. Sometimes it's strong ridicule. It's criticism. Sometimes it's strong criticism. But that's what the internet's for. And, you know, we're going to miss out on some really important, essential conversations if we don't allow people to communicate in the way that they want to.
No longer fit for purpose. The Democrat Party is a mess. The Republican Party deserves to be destroyed. It is no longer fit for purpose. It disrespects and betrays its own base. It no longer practices conservative principles in government. It deserves to be ripped in two. If we believe in a conservative vision of the world, the Republican Party is not going to get us there.
What do you guys think about that?
Isn't it, to hear about, you know, the fact that there's apparently a problem with women worrying about being too thin. That's of course not the problem. The problem is that everyone's getting too fat, and actually there's no evidence really that any of this stuff has much of an impact. A lot of the science is very fuzzy on this. It's social science stuff rather than any real sort of reports or anything. I mean, what worries me about all of this kind of stuff is the implication that somehow we're going to make people's lives happier or better by encouraging them to believe that whatever body shape they are and whatever they look like, they're beautiful and they're going to be happy. That's evident. That's quite clearly not the case. I mean, if you look at women's happiness has been going down since the Second World War. Actually, every decade, women are getting more miserable as they get told that they can be who they want and look how they like. And you can say, I suppose, that a woman's self-esteem should have nothing to do with whether or not a man's sexual preference, you know, sort of coincides with how she looks. But the fact is, women are getting more unhappy, and this sort of slightly irresponsible trend to sort of encourage people to eat whatever they want and do whatever they want is what's, you know, is one of the things that's fueling an obesity crisis, and that's a really serious thing. That's a real thing. That's something that's got health implications, it's got cost implications for the NHS. The problem isn't too many anorexic women. The problem is quite in the opposite direction. We're perfectly happy to have aspirational role models in our entertainment. We should have them too in our retail. There's nothing wrong with encouraging people to live healthily.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
No cloud service is ever going to be completely secure. Apple does have a responsibility to make its software as secure as possible, but there will always be hackers who are much smarter and much cleverer and are much more determined to exploit vulnerabilities. What this boils down to for celebrities, just like everybody else, is personal responsibility. And if you're going to take pictures of yourself like that, by far the most intelligent thing to do is do it with a Polaroid. Don't do it on a device that's connected to the internet, that's sending your pictures to servers you don't control. It's a recipe for madness, and for somebody who is as rich and as famous as Jennifer Lawrence is, you know, it's sort of unbelievable.
Because they're higher in the victim pyramid than we are. The silence of feminism, and indeed the immediate victim blaming of young German girls after the sexual assaults in Cologne, and you know, loads of others as well. There was a transgender couple that were beaten up after some Syrians found out they weren't really women. Women all over Germany being abused. 1,400 girls gang raped in Rotherham in the UK because the progressive authorities were scared of appearing racist and didn't police it properly. And that's not, you know, feverish tabloid right-wing media. That's a government report that said it. You know, this stuff is horrifying. Importing cultures which genuinely represent patriarchy, which embody all of the things that third-wave feminists say they hate, and importing these people en masse into our communities in Europe has been an unmitigated disaster.
Not only that people under 16, 15 don't like them very much, but they're also getting, for the first time, BuzzFeed is starting to get as many dislikes as likes on its videos, because people are realizing there are no social consequences attached to saying, do you know what, this race baiting is not okay, this gender baiting is not okay. What I'm discovering as I talk to colleges, actually, is that
BuzzFeed, like
the millennial generation, which many of us have
who watches that shit?
As a generation that cares more about feelings than facts, has been very unfairly represented by a small vocal minority. Now, that minority has power on campuses, has power in the media, has power in the entertainment industry, has power in academia, all sorts of different environments. But I have faith that the millennial generation is more sensible than that. And I think the proof in the pudding, which hasn't really been seen before, is my college talks. You get my college talks, right? I go and I speak to people about free speech and all the rest of it. You see this, like the internet is played out in real life in the audiences in my talks. You get Trump supporters, Black Lives Matter, feminists, classical liberal, all these people, and then you've got like Trump.
So many people.
Black Lives Matter. It's an amazing
so many different
thing.
groups and gangs,
and then a wave afterwards.
Right. The level of intellectual diversity in that generation is very much not what you would think if all you ever read was BuzzFeed.
In the statistics that you're saying is American college campuses are among the safest places for women to be, and people who peddle the lies are like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 want to tell women they're the most dangerous places you can be. It's a lie. In what possible universe is that responsible or caring behaviour? That's not the behaviour of somebody with integrity. That's the behaviour of somebody with a political agenda who cares nothing for the facts.
Is there anybody in here who hates me? Anyone? Yes, there we go. Thank you.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. A lot of people must love him as well, because, you know, he wouldn't be as big as he is right now. He wouldn't be as famous as he is right now, I'd say.
This is an event for 7s and above, so anyone who just put their hand up, please leave.
I don't know, it's a tough one, because obviously I don't want to give my opinion and upset anyone, because that's not what anyone should do. And this is the only reason I dislike politics, is because I just feel like there's a bunch of politicians who can't see past their own opinions and just stick to their own opinions, can never see past their own, ever. Like, some people either think this guy's a very smart man or a very, very stupid man. But I can't give you my full opinion on him, because that's the first video I've ever seen of him. I would say, obviously, he's against feminist, that's clear. But some of the things he just said then I could agree with. I don't know. It's a tough one. I just personally feel like we all need to just calm the fuck down. Just accept everyone for everyone. I mean, I wish it was as simple as this, but we all just need to accept everyone everyone's equal, have a fucking cup of tea and relax. I don't know. If you guys enjoyed this video today, make sure you smash that thumbs up button because it helps me out tons. If you're new to the channel, then please make sure you subscribe because I have so many more videos coming your way. Also, if you have any other suggestions, leave them down in the comment section and I'll put them straight on my list for you guys and I'll watch them as soon as I can. Sometimes I don't see them because I get quite a few coming a day, so just keep commenting and I will see it eventually. Or get me on my social medias, which will be linked down below in my description for you guys. That was a really interesting video to watch because I've never watched a, what's he called? Milo video before. But yeah, so if you've got any more suggestions like that, then definitely leave them down below and I'll definitely put those on my list and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye.